for people. So I feel like my clients, when we speak, they're sleeping better, they're less anxious, less irritable on the daily. There's a couple of people that float that have had surgeries, multiple surgeries, and just putting themselves in that zero gravity is like a reset on the mind.
And you yourself said you used it for migraines.
Anxiety and migraines, yes.
Anxiety and migraines. Have people who have used this therapy come back and say, oh, wow, I've, my migraines have lessened, or
we have heard
I feel
that.
better.
Yes.
So you've had a lot of return.
Yes. And
customers.
I'm gonna say that which becomes very interesting. It's almost like I know it's wonderful, and I've done it. I've seen the benefits myself personally. But when I have a client that comes back in and says, I've been through a lot in my life, whether they're like suffering from PTSD, they feel better and better. Like I just had a client in the other day that hasn't had a good night's sleep, she said, in what feels like years. And a lot of life stresses. I know that she had a husband that she had lost in the war, and she felt a tremendous amount of relief. And not only did she float on a Friday, she came back in to float on a Sunday, and then she was like, I'm going to be back on Wednesday. And she just said it felt like a massage for my mind.
Can you float too much?
No. I really feel like...
Are you sure you can't float too much?
People don't float enough.
Float enough.
Yeah.
So what's the ideal... I know it's going to vary from person to person, but what do you see is like someone that you say, this is working, they're taking it and they're incorporating it into their lifestyle? How many times do you see that? Or do you say when things...
people that are coming in corporate America, if you look at the pie chart of people that are floating, it's a lot of people that are in corporate America that are at desks, that are doing the 9 to 5, that are stressed out clerical workers. They come in at least once a week, and they're finding relief and being more relaxed. And
do you deal with any insurance companies, or do you see this at some point being able to be incorporated in preventative
I'm going
medication?
To be honest, I do. Right now, there is no insurances that we take, but I could see the future. And, I can't see the future. I wish that I could, but it's definitely nearing taking strides and steps toward becoming.
Oh, sure. Especially if it makes someone's... Even if it takes the healing process and makes it shorter, or seemingly so, because a lot of times it's the perception of the mind when the body is not functioning 100% anyway.
Absolutely.
So that's really, really interesting. What do you think, Jeanine?
I think also that when you're talking about reducing stress, we have to think about even students. This may be a wonderful thing for our students who are going through a rigorous program or something like that, that this would be an ideal way to manage stress, coping.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that... It's funny. I read various books on relaxation, and it's kind of everybody. Whether you go to the dentist and you get a cleaning, or you do a spring cleaning in your home, you're cleaning out the inventory in some way. And most people are uncomfortable with meditation. Most people don't realize if you take 5 or 10 minutes a day and you sit with yourself and you try to clear your thoughts or your mind, that the benefits to that are just tremendous. So I believe floating takes meditation to a whole new level, and it forces people to really take deep breaths, to clear their mind, and the residual effects to that are just tremendous.
Do you think that people have an expectation that you can't fulfill? Like, does anyone come in and say, you know what, I've been doing this every day or 3 times a week, and my back still hurts. So what do you say?
Never. We do not hear that. I know.
Oh my
It sounds
goodness.
crazy. Yeah. Anybody that's floating is coming back again and again and again. And there's people that are adverse, or they were like, maybe they felt 80%, but they're still coming back. They're still sharing. And I think they're interested. And like we say to everybody, before and after their first time float, like, this is a practice. If you practice yoga, you get better at it. If anything that you practice.
Now, because we're germaphobes, we're nurses,
Yes.
So we have to. So we say, okay, the person comes in, they sit in the spa, they put on the spa sandals. That's a beautiful thing. They're with friends, maybe family, with whoever they're doing this with. And then that's like your pre. Then they go in and they float.
Yes.
You have them shower first.
Yes.
How do you maintain that kind of cleanliness in the water? The This is so, like, there has to be a process.
It's a wonderful, wonderful question, Kathleen. And I assure
it's Joan. It's Joan. But you can call me Kathleen. I have a sister, Kathleen.
You can call me Kathleen, too.
You can call her. That's okay.
Okay, so basically,
Patty.
It's ozone. It's really, they're ozone filtrated. Every unit has its own pump that cleans and gets 90% of any type of, whether it be like dead skin or hair, out. And at night or after clients float, we put in a very high test hydrogen peroxide. But due to the amount of Epsom salt, it is clean in and of itself. But there is like ozone filtration that we implement after every single float for 15 or 20 minutes, and that is supposedly cleans these tanks by 99.9%. And I mean, I go in there with almost a microscope myself. I'm very meticulous, as is my business partner, and these tanks are clean.
So that in the chambers are also cleansed.
Yes.
When you empty the water, do you empty the water?
They're actually
they're just filtered.
They're filtered through ozone filtration, and it ensures that they are sediment free afterward each and every time, and we overlook them as well.
What if I fall asleep in the tank and I don't come out in an hour?
Yeah, that sounds like a good question.
Our favorite question. If you fall asleep in the tank, which sometimes people feel like they do, it's actually that's that sensory deprivation place where you are completely relaxed, almost in this alternate universe. And I'm jealous when people get to that place and they're getting sleep. And just so you know, they say 45 minutes in a sensory deprived state is equivalent to 6 hours of sleep.
Oh my gosh, we should have one every day.
Yeah, you should. There should be the pod.
I agree, Joan.
There should be pod homes.
Yeah.
Homes. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Within the radio station, there should be a pod room. I'll have to speak to Jim about that.
Yeah. So, okay, so it doesn't sound bad at all. But the cost is what, but you don't find that if something, and I know people, if something works, there is no price on it for anybody. They'll really work very hard to be able to at least give themselves what they can afford. And that's huge.
Yes.
It's once a month. I felt like I needed to detox my anxiety piece. Once a month, I could easily plan
a membership. We offer memberships at various prices, but yes, if you're looking to float once a month, twice a month.
I'm a control person. I don't do memberships, but it is good to know because some people need the membership to go. It's like Weight Watchers.
Yes, they do.
You have to join to be committed and part of it, and it probably makes them feel more.
It makes you feel like almost like it's an appointment, and you have an appointment for an hour. An hour or an hour and a half for yourself once a month is not too much to ask. I mean, life is busy, but at the same time, like, we need to take the reins and take care of ourselves.
People
first.
Get their hair done once a month, right?
I was thinking that.
You were thinking that?
Dentists.
What else?
Nails.
Doctors. Nails. But it's true. If we don't take care of our mind, our body, we know as medical people, we know that our body's going to eventually break down. So I'm really hoping. What kind of audience do you present this to? Like right now, it's the community. So you're presenting it to us, and of course, we always talk about things to other people, like word of mouth.
Yes.
That's one thing. But what are the other audiences? Are you going to any conferences or reaching out to medicine? I know psych has definitely been involved in this.
There is definitely a float conference that's held every year on flotation therapy in Portland, Oregon.
Wow.
And that's where all the float owners basically go, and they talk about the improved technology within the tanks and the water and clients and what every individual float center is doing to ensure happy floaters, if you will. And basically, I feel like we're trying to reach out. There's an umbrella, there's a community, there's a target that enjoys floating, that is eager to float. It's going to be people that take care of themselves, whether that be people that are into physical fitness, whether that's people that are into meditation, yoga, a lot of people with health problems, I'm going to say, a lot of people with body issues.
Now, when you told your mother you were going to open a float spa,
she does. My mom
she
loves it. I almost can never get her out of the tank. She will do 90-minute floats and 2-hour floats.
Wow.
She loves it. At first, she probably thought that I was crazy and did not understand it, as a lot of my friends and family go, huh? What? No, I don't want to float in a coffin. No, I'm claustrophobic. That's the normal
response.
And every time they visit or I talk about it, I diffuse these these reservations.
Now, I asked you how young you had to be. We talked about you need to be 18, you need to sign consent for going in and stuff. And it seems like there's a whole lot of safety things. Is there any federal regulations that you have to follow, or anybody come in and say, yay, nay, you're doing this good?
There are not. Yeah, there are very minimal federal regulations as of now. In my spa, we do have a handicap. We have since we're 2 levels, you have to walk down to float downstairs, but we do have a tank, our very large suite, which is again 6 by 8, size of an elevator, and that is located on the first floor, adjacent a bathroom. So
you have handicap accessibility.
Yeah, which is good, not just for somebody that might be on crutches or somebody that has difficulty walking, or I've had clients that are blind that come in and float. At least that's there for them, and they don't have to worry about walking downstairs. They can float, and it's easy for them too.
I just think, and what's the oldest person that's floated?
I want to say I had somebody in their 80s float.
I was good. I thought at least she wasn't saying 60 or 50, right?
Yeah.
80s.
And that person was floating since the 70s, I believe that he said to us, and in different float places all around New York City. And
wow, I mean, anybody that's grown up, especially on Long Island, has to know the benefit of water, right? I mean, we have ocean on both sides, all these things. And that, I remember it as a kid. I mean, it's got to create some kind of, when you think back about, some things trigger, like apple pie, you smell cinnamon, you think of apple pie. I'm thinking that once somebody experiences this, they're going to remember all those times when the parents, 2-finger hold the kid up so he floats.
Yes, water is. From you come into the world in water, more or less, and
so it's a common.
Yes, and it's a healing remedy. They say that salt water is a cure to all, whether that be tears, whether that be floating in the ocean.
Could I actually gift someone a gift certificate?
Yes, you could. Yes, we have a lot of that. We call it the pay it forward. Someone will come in with a gift card or a gift certificate, and they will love it, and then they feel that they want to spread the love, and they, word of mouth only goes so far. So we do have a lot of clients that will buy gift cards for somebody, whether that be a mother, a wife, a friend, and then that person comes in, they enjoy it, and then they buy gift cards.
Well, it's a wonderful way to experience it and have someone else to experience it also.
What's your takeaway message for the listening audience?
My takeaway message would be basically what you do in the dark is something that puts you in the light. And I think that is one of our quotes that we live by within my spa. And
wow, that sounds really good.
Oh, so thank you so much for being. We just want to thank you, our guest, Lindsey Stravino, for being with us today. And we want to thank you for listening to Your Family's Health.
Thank you, Joan and Jeanine.
This brings an end to another edition of Your Family's Health on 90.3 FM, the voice of Nassau Community College. Joan Buckley is professor of nursing at Nassau Community College. Your comments are always welcome at whpc@ncc.edu. This program was produced at the studios of WHPC 90.3 on the campus of Nassau Community College. Join us again next week for another edition of Your Family's Health.